Halicarnassus, and it's your host Gnosis. So let's get right into this. So now I want to thank everybody that's been watching my videos. I've been getting a lot of new subscribers from my past video, the etymology of the word baptism, and I hope I don't hope, I know that you guys love that video, man. I see that you guys love my etymology videos, man, and I just want to point this out. This isn't trying to hurt anybody's feelings at all. It's just you have to do the research, and I'm telling you, man, once you do the research, then you can't be hoodwinked or bamboozled, if I should say, by anybody giving you like these false narratives and where these words really come from. So to all my new viewers, thank you all. But on this channel, I talk about history, I talk about etymology, when it comes to all the way to the Greeks, the Romans, the Persians, the Hittites, Native Americans, as you see with all the books, man. So we have we have the resources, ladies and gentlemen. But before I begin, I do want to say thank you again for everybody that's been checking out my videos. Man, I put a lot of work into these videos, a lot. So I appreciate the patience when it comes to when I make these videos, but I will be shortening that window, just, normal life stuff though. But anywho, I do want to get into this, but yeah, so let's get straight right into this though. So now, if you've been watching my videos, mostly for the newcomers, I talk about history a lot, and then one historian that you need to read is Herodotus. I've actually give you an example. I had a very interesting conversation with somebody, and then we're talking about history, and I was telling him about the Persian War, about the Greeks, and how the Greeks actually adopted some of the Egyptian rites and some of their ways of life. And he was like, nah, there's no way. And I'm just like, and I pulled out Herodotus. You read Herodotus' stories? He was like, Herodotus' stories, and that's when it shocked me. I was like, you don't know this? Wait, yeah, like the Greeks adopted some of their customs from the Egyptians, and it's in the books. I mean, like, we have the books. So that dogged on me, and I was just like seeing this confusion. I was just like, man, it's all there if you just took the time in to read it. So that's why I wanted to make this video, make actually a compilation, because I talked about this on my previous old videos, because I've been doing this for about 2 years now, I would say. So I want to make a compilation where showing you straight out of Herodotus, where he shows the connection and then how the Greeks, aka the Hellenists, learned most of their customs from the Egyptians, and of course other cultures around there, but mostly from the Greeks. And you'd be like, oh, well, okay, but I also will show you some evidence in his book which commemorate Herodotus, talking about other places that we can actually prove to date what he wrote in this. And he even tells you, for instance, about where the Greeks got their writing system from. Yeah. Oh, you thought the Greeks just made up this? No, they had to adopt it from the Phoenicians. And if you know anything about the Phoenicians, I talked about the Venetians about my prior video. But I don't want to stray off too far. So in this compilation videos and my older videos, I want to show the importance why you need to read Herodotus. And it'll give you a really deep aha moment for a lot of you all, if you're watching my channels, about the intermingling between the Greeks and the Egyptians, and how the Greeks, actually should commemorate the Egyptians to most of their society, even to their gods. And we all have the proof here in Herodotus landmarks, which you can all get on Amazon. So it's all here. But any further ado, let's get right into this video. So to all my newcomers, I want to show you that I've had these resources before, but I want to show you all more detail. So yeah, anywho, let's get right into this and show you all why you need to read Herodotus and what he said pertaining between the Greeks and the Egyptians. Enjoy you all. And new videos will be coming out too, so stay tuned and be watching my channel. And please, please, please press the like button. It'll be much appreciated. But anywho, let's get right into this. All right, enjoy. So as you can see here, book 5, Athens. I'm gonna go all the way up so you know what page we're cooking with. On page 391. So we're going to skip all the way down here. This is what I was just saying. So these Phoenicians, including Geoffrians, came with Cadmos and settled this land, and they transmitted much lore to the Hellenists. And remember, the Hellenists are the old Greeks, and in particularly taught them the alphabet, which I believe the Hellenists did not have previously, but which was originally used by all Phoenicians. With the passage of time, both the sound and the shape of the letters changed, because at this time it was mostly Ionians who lived around the Phoenicians. They were the ones who were first instructed in the use of the alphabet by them. And after making a few changes to the form of the letters, they put them to good use. But when they spoke of them, they called them Phoenician letters, which was only right since these letters, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, had been introduced to Hellas, aka the Greeks, old Greeks, by the Phoenicians. And if you over here look to the side, 558, Boeotia, how the Phoenicians in Boeotia brought the alphabet, which was revised and adopted by the Hellenists. So again, this is Herodotus saying that even the alphabets came from the Phoenicians, which I showed you earlier in other videos, that the Phoenicians got it from the Egyptians. So you can see this connection. But yeah, this is what I'm saying. You have to understand Herodotus and read Herodotus. All right, guys.
National Library of Medicine, so you can do your due diligence and look this up also. But in an abstract, it says here, Egyptian medicine is the base of Greek medicine. Egyptian people and their medical knowledge are often mentioned in the Iliad and Odyssey of Homer, one of the Greeks I just showed you in the prior picture. Many Greek doctors, such as Melampus, Aesopus, and as well as Hippocrates, I butchered most of their names, I'm sorry guys, visited Egypt to study and understand medicine. Okay. This work intends to focus particularly on Homer, Herodotus, and Plutarch's letters, where the importance of Egypt in religion, science, and medicine is clear. Herodotus 484 through 420 BCE in the second book of the Histories, which I'll be showing you guys later. I'll be showing you passages from the book a little bit later because I own the book. Describes Egypt and the medical knowledge of its doctors. Plutarch 1 through 2 CE in the virtues of Sparta and life of Lycurgus tells about an energy beverage named Nephtine made with drugs from Egypt. And another Greek philosopher that we all know, well known as Plato, which actually chimes in also. So I'll show you guys a quote from him here also. Plato in Egypt. Damien went on from there. Plato traveled to Egypt with Euripides to meet with Egyptian philosophers and priests. During his stay, he became very ill, but was cured by a priest using a concoction made of seawater. This caused Plato to concur with Homer that the Egyptians surpassed all mankind as healers. So even Plato is commending Homer to what he said when it came to their medicine. But I'll continue. Every man is a healer there. Homer, Odyssey 4, 229 through 232. He also learned about the water clock and brought the idea back to Greece. As you know, the Egyptians were the first to invent a portable timekeeping device. And as you see here, this is the Egyptian water clock dated 1400 BC. And to put into context, as you see also, the Greeks telling you that they got most of their ideas and their way of living, astrology, astronomy, science, from the Egyptians. But I'll finish up here. The most important thing is that it was in Egypt that Plato was exposed to many new ideas from the philosopher priest, which in turn formed the nucleus of what would become his philosophy and his theory of forms. So now, after just showing you three Greek philosophers and showing you how they all contested as to going into Egypt and having numerous encounters where it comes to their medicine and how it helped them and actually brought some of their ideas to Greek. So, and after showing you the website that you can go look up too, Homer and Herodotus contributing towards the medicine in Egypt and it being the basis of medical for the Greeks. But if you study Homer and Herodotus, I have to point this out because I'm going to have, if people do the research like I hope you guys do, you're going to run into this. They're going to say they may be a little bit pseudo or, oh, that they made all this stuff up. And, well, let's say we can contest to that. But if you know about Herodotus, you'll know that since in his book he quoted of this lost city of Harsalon that was submerged in Upper Egypt, and for thousands of years everybody thought it was a myth. They thought it didn't exist until we found it. And I'll show you the article here. And before I continue, just want to show you guys the book, the landmark Herodotus, the Histories, where we get history from. The first Greek historian, Herodotus, was an ancient Greek historian and geographer from the Greek city of Halicarnassus, part of the Persian Empire, now Bodrum, Turkey. He is known for having written the Histories, a detailed account of the Greco-Persian Wars. Herodotus was the first writer to perform systematic investigation of historical events. He is referred to as the father of history, a title confirmed on him by the ancient Roman orator Cicero. I'll leave all the rest for you guys to read, but I want to come down here where I highlighted. Herodotus has been criticized for his inclusion of legends and fanciful accounts in his work. The fellow historian Thurii accused him of making up stories for entertainment. However, Herodotus explained that he reported what he saw and what was told to him. A sizable portion of the Histories has since been confirmed by modern historians and archaeologists. And as I said earlier, they found this lost city due to the writings that Herodotus had in his stories. And I'll show you the link to the article here. History of Donus Herculean. For more than 4 centuries into the foundation of Alexandria in 331 BCE, Donus reigned supreme over the Canopic portion of the Nile River. The Greek historian Herodotus of Sicily wrote about Donus Herculean in his great work, Bibliotheca Historia, between 60 BC and 30 BCE. Sometime in the 5th century BC, Herodotus, like I just said, wrote that the Greek god and hero Hercules, actually first stepped foot onto Egypt at this port city. Thus the Greeks gave Donus the name Herculean and built a grand temple dedicated to him. Herodotus also said Paris and Helen of Troy visited the port city. So here's the primitive Egyptian port Donus Herculean was lost at the bottom of the sea for 1,300 years. Like I just said, Herodotus wrote this in his book and Histories. The Egyptian city of Donus Herculean was the main port of entry to the Mediterranean Sea. Between the 8th century BCE and the 4th century BCE, by the 8th century CE, what remained of the city sank into the sea and eventually became a distant memory, without any trace, except for a few references in historical writings. The forgotten ruins rested undisturbed until the 21st century in 2000. The European Institute of Maritime Archaeology, led by renowned archaeologist Frank Goudia, finally discovered the city's treasure in the depths of the Obicure Bay. And this is where they found the lost city. As you can see, it's a little bit off from the city of Alexandria in Egypt. But yeah, as you see there, that's where they found it, and it was submerged in water, just like what Herodotus contested to in his book. So now, after showing you that and that Herodotus written down about this lost city, and that us actually finding it contests to what he said in his book. And like I said before, I have the book. So this is why I show you guys. I'm not one of those YouTubers that just shows you the pictures. I actually own the book and do my due diligence. So that's why I can say I can vouch for some of the stuff that Herodotus contests to when he talks about Egypt. And like I said, I want to show you some passages from the book Histories, quoting from Herodotus what he says pertaining to Egypt.
So now, page 118 on book 2. Book 2 of Egypt. Says here by Herodotus, got it here highlighted. As to all matters concerning the human world, they were in agreement. They said that the Egyptians were the first of all peoples to discover the year by dividing up the seasons into 12 parts to total 1 year. What does that sound like, guys, to you in the Western civilization? What does that sound like? And that the discoverer had to do this from the stars, astronomy. The Egyptians seem to me to be much wiser than the Hellenists in a way that they regulate the timing of the seasons. I'll get back to the definition of Hellenists in a second. While the Hellenists attempt to preserve the timing of the seasons by inserting an intercalary month every other year, the Egyptians divided the year in 12 months of 30 days each and add just 5 days each year beyond that number, and thus their season do return at the same periods in a cycle from year to year, duality. They said that the Egyptians were also the first to establish the tradition of identifying names for the 12 gods, and that the Hellenists adopted this practice from them. They were also the first to assign altars, statues, and temples to the gods, and to carve their figures in relief on stone. So you can see from what Herodotus is claiming that the Greeks got all of their customs, especially when it came to their altars and their rituals, from the Egyptians. And that word Hellenist, I want to give you a brief definition so you know exactly who he's talking about. So as we see here, Hellene, noun Hellenist, an ancient Greek, even a native of modern Greece, chiefly in the title of the now exiled royal family. So you see exactly who he's referring to when he's saying that they make up claims, or that they're following, that the Hellenists are following the Egyptians. These are the Greeks. Herodotus himself is a Greek too. But next insert, I want to show you page 144, so you guys can see also book 2, page 144. In any case, the Egyptians were the first of all peoples to hold public religious festivals, pageants, and processions escorting divine images. Remember now. And the Hellenists, well, since I gave you the definition, I'm going to just say, and the Greeks learned about these rituals from them. My proof for this assertion is that Egyptian ceremonies have obviously been held for a very long time, but those of the Greeks have been instituted only recently. The Egyptians come together to celebrate major festivals, not just once, but many times a year. The most popular festival takes place at the city of Bubastis in honor of Artemis. And if you know Greek, mythology, you know who that is. The second most popular festival honors Isis, an Egyptian moon goddess, at the city of Bosphorus, an Egyptian city situated in the center of the delta where the most important sanctuary of Isis is located. Isis is, in the Greek language, is Demeter. If you know Greek mythology, you know about Demeter, and especially in
page 136, book 2, Herodotus. Let's do it. All those who establish a sanctuary of Theban, Zeus, or of the Theban nome sacrifice goats, but not sheep. For Egyptians do not all worship the same gods in the same way. Only the gods Isis and Osiris, the latter of whom they say is Dionysus, remember that, the connection, are worshipped in the same manner by all Egyptians. For example, those who have a sanctuary of Mendes or the Mendesian district sacrifice sheep, but not goats. Now the Egyptians and all who followed their practice abstained from sacrificing sheep and claimed that their custom originated in this manner. Heracles had an overwhelming desire to see Zeus, who did not want to be seen by him. Finally, since Heracles kept insisting, Zeus devised the following scheme. He skinned a ram, cut off its head, wrapped himself in the fleece, and placed the head in front of his own face, and showed himself thus to Heracles. That is why the Egyptians fashioned a statue of Zeus with the head of a ram. The Ammonians, who were colonists from both Egypt and Ethiopia, who speak a combination of both languages, apparently received this tradition from the Egyptians. And since the Egyptians called Zeus by the name of Ammon, it seems to me that the Ammonians also received their name from the appellations of this god. And I'll continue here. Page 137. Egypt, book 2. Now to turn again to Heracles. I have heard it said that he was once of the 12 Egyptian gods, but about the other, Heracles, the one known to the Hellenists, I was unable to learn anything anywhere in Egypt. This is Herodotus speaking. Moreover, the fact is that the Egyptians did not take the name of Heracles from the Hellenists, but that the Hellenists, that is, those Hellenists who established the name of Heracles as a son of Amphitryon, took it from the Egyptians. This can be demonstrated by many proofs, especially by the fact that both parents of Heracles, Amphitryon and Alcmaeon, were of Egyptian descent. Continue here. And this is where it gets good. Just a little bit. Since I wish to know something definite about all this from any source I can find, I sailed to Tyre in Phoenicia. The Phoenicians, when I learned that there was a sanctuary sacred to Heracles there. Then let's do this. And I saw that it was decorated lavishly with many offerings. In particular, I saw 2 pillars in it, one of refined gold and the other of emerald so magnificent that it glowed in the dark. When I asked the priests of the god how long it had been since the sanctuary had been established, I discovered that they did not agree with the Hellenists. Remember, ancient Greek, I showed you guys earlier what Hellenist is the ancient Greeks. For they said that the sanctuary was founded at the same time that Tyre was settled, and that Tyre had been inhabited for 2,300 years. I also saw in Tyre another sanctuary of Heracles, this one bearing the Amphitryon. And so I went to Thasos and found that there was a sanctuary of Heracles founded by Phoenicians who had set sail in search of Europa, who had colonized Thasos, which happened in fact 5 generations of men earlier than birth of Heracles, son of Amphitryon and Helios. And so this research shows clearly that Heracles is an ancient divinity. The Hellenists I consider the most orthodox of those who are founded and maintained to distract sanctuaries of Heracles, sacrificing to one, as in, now I'm on page 138, trying to show you guys, you all can look this up yourself, grab the book 2, to finish it off, immortal with infinite Olympian, and to the other as a hero, with offerings appropriate to the dead. Remember, always incorporating it and switching things up. The Greeks did this too. The Hellenists tell many different native stories, and their myth of Heracles is especially foolish. They say he came to Egypt and was crowned by the Egyptians, who then let him direct a procession as a sacrificial victim to Zeus. He kept silent for a while, but when they led him up the altar, he turned on them with his great strength and murdered them all. The Hellenists who tell this story, seems to me, are entirely ignorant of the nature and customs of the Egyptians. These people are forbidden by sacred law to sacrifice their domestic animal apart from sheep, bulls, male calves that are ritually clean, and geese. So how could they conceivably sacrifice human beings?
There it is, people. All the evidence right there for you in books. But the thing is, what I wanted to question is, why is all this stuff hidden from us? Why isn't all this stuff put in the forefront in the books? It's because they're trying to hide all this. They don't want you to research this stuff. After finding all of this out, by just reading through books and researching other people, other cultures, and again, like I said, that was a Greek philosopher. Remember, Herodotus is Greek. So he's not Egyptian. So this gives you another reason why you can believe all this. But yeah, so as I said again, all this information, they're trying to hide it from you. They don't want to they don't want you guys to educate yourself or to look at Egypt in high esteem. Because when you look further back, almost every nation around that area went into Egypt and got educated. So just wanted to point this video out that history is really written by the winners. And if you really want to know what happened to the opponents, you're going to have to dive deep. And this is what I do on my channel. And I give unbiased information. So again, I hope you guys learned something. I hope we all can research Egypt more and we'll find out more stuff that Egypt contributed. But again, thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. More content is on the way. I'm telling you, we'll be reading from the Gnostics soon, and we'll be doing more Bible verses. And we're going to see why the Gnostics thought the way that they did. Was there a reason why that they removed themselves from the early Christian sect? Maybe a different way of thinking. But we're going to get into that soon. But anyway, thank you all again for taking the time to watch these videos. I know I put some time in it. They're like 30, almost 40 minutes. If you guys want, I could break it down, do part 1 and 2, get across. But I feel like my viewers, you guys are good. You guys can spend the time, sit down, and get educated. Because if you can't watch a 30-minute video and get education, like scholarly education, like come on. And you can't even just read a book. So, anywho, thank you all for taking the time. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, as above, so below. Peace, everybody.